Yesterday's silver price was down. Today's silver price is up. There have been some fluctuations day to day, and we will talk about this. But more importantly, I want to talk about something that silver price recently did, which it will never do again. So let's do it. Thank you so much for watching my video. I do sincerely appreciate it. If you want to learn more about investing in precious metals, or if you just want to watch awesome videos about gold and silver, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, so we are currently seeing a pop in precious metals prices today. We got gold up almost $30, silver up over 50 cents. If we look at the stock market, we can see the stock market is rallying today, and the US dollar index is down. So why is the dollar down and everything else up? That is the question. Now, when it comes to these daily moves in spot price, I like to go over to Kitco, and we're just going to read the first few paragraphs in this article here because I think it paints a good picture of what's going on. So the headline is gold price jumps to daily highs as the U.S. service sector contracts in December. I think this is definitely having an effect on the markets, right? So the first part here, the gold market advanced to new daily highs as the service sector fell short of expectations in December, contracting after 30 months of growth, according to the latest data from the Institute of Supply Management. The Services Purchasing Managers Index, PMI, was at a reading of 49.6% last month. This is really important. Down from November's 56.5%. The 6.9, 69, what's up?
Okay, I see what you did there.
Percentage point decline was a surprise to the downside as market consensus calls were looking for the index to come in at 55%. So they were thinking it was going to be around 55%. It was way down to 49.6%. Readings above 50 are seen as a sign of economic growth. The farther an indicator is above or below 50, the greater or smaller the rate of change. So basically, if it's above 50, we're growing. If it's below 50, we're not growing, right? So this is kind of another sign that we're in a recession. And, you know, if we are in this deep recession that we basically already know we are in, then the Fed is not going to be able to continue to jack up rates. So this is going to be bad news for the dollar and good news for gold and silver. This chart here is showing the silver spot price over the last 3 days. So on January 4th, we saw the price come down. Yesterday, the price came down even more. And then today we are seeing some nice gains, but we haven't recouped all of the losses quite yet. So we will see where it goes from here. But you know, these day-to-day moves in silver spot price are not too exciting to me, right? I mean, if it jumps up like $1 or goes down $1 in one day, it's kind of like, all right, that's a big move. But, you know, 50 cents here and there is kind of to be expected when we have all of these numbers coming out. But overall, I would say I still am bullish on silver. But I want to talk about one thing that silver spot price has done fairly recently, but I think it will never, ever do again. This is really interesting to think about. And if you're just now kind of getting into silver, if you've only been buying for the last few months or few years, maybe you don't realize this, but there is a floor, sort of a bottom that silver spot price could ever go, and that floor is moving up. And one of the things I want to look at is actually how much silver is being used every year in contrast to how much silver is being mined every year. This chart here is showing the supply and demand side for silver year after year. So from 2019 to 2022, this was the amount of silver that was available. And then for demand, this is how much silver was needed, right? So if we look at the market balance, 2021, negative 51 million ounces, 2022, negative 71 million ounces, and then down here in red, this is the deficit of silver mining supply. However, Silver Institute just revised the shortage for 2022. It's not 71 million ounces, it's now 194 million ounces. This chart here is essentially showing the decline in available silver in these warehouses, right? So we have the LBMA and the COMEX, the two biggest silver stockpiles pretty much on Earth. And over the last year or so, we can see the LBMA, this light blue line, the decline in available silver, as well as this dark blue line, the COMEX silver stockpile is depleting as well. So not only are we at a mining deficit over the last few years, but also the world is using more silver, and this is expected to increase in 2023.
No spoilies.
Okay, now we are at the 5-year silver spot price chart, and I want to talk about what silver price will never do again. So let's start with the bottom for silver. What's the lowest that silver spot price could go before the miners would refuse to sell silver into the marketplace, right? Because if silver mining costs too much money, they're simply going to not mine any more silver, or they will stockpile their silver and not sell it out into the marketplace, which would have to raise the price of silver, obviously, because if there's still demand and no supply, price will go up, and then they would sell their silver into the marketplace. So for a long time, it was right around $14 an ounce, and we can actually see in 2018, silver spot price kind of flirted with this a few times, same with 2019, but in 2020, this is when the COVID panic started, and we saw this dip well below the bottom, right? And what happened during this time? Well, I actually interviewed Keith Neumeyer. He is the CEO of First Majestic Silver, and by the way, this is no small silver mining operation. They have over a $2.3 billion market cap, so this is a pretty big silver miner, right? But he told me they were refusing to sell their silver because the spot price was too low. Now, why did the spot price go down so much all of a sudden? Well, there was a liquidity crisis, right? And traders needed cash. So what did they do? They sold their gold and silver stocks. And you know what? This happens when the stock market goes down, when it starts to plummet. A lot of the time we will see gold and silver spot price go down initially, but then it will rally after that, which obviously silver rallied hard after that point. So this is kind of like a little blimp, right? But when silver price went below the $14 mark, they stopped selling their silver, and that's something important to note. So what I want to point out is that because we've had so much inflation over the last few years, the bottom for how low silver can go is actually moved up. It's no longer $14 an ounce. Instead, it's actually closer to $16 an ounce is where the bottom for silver is. So what's interesting to note is that silver still could go below $16 an ounce, right, as far as the spot price is concerned, because we could see another event like this. And by the way, the sharper this decline, the greater the rally will be after. So if we have another event like that, you know, a quote-unquote stock market crash or dip, we could see silver price, you know, dip, but then rally hard after that point. But what I'm saying is that the natural bottom, or the lowest that silver price could go, is actually been raised. So in the past, silver could go down to around 14. Now it can go down to around $16 an ounce. And if it goes below that point for any period of time, the miners are going to refuse to sell their silver out into the marketplace, and we will see the price go up. So this is one good thing about owning physical silver and physical gold, is that there really is this bottom, right, for how low it can go. For other stocks, they can go to zero, right? For cryptos, they can go to zero. There's a lot of things you can invest in that can go to zero, but that is not possible for silver. I mean, even if the spot price did go down to, say, $10 an ounce, the premiums on physical silver would go so high. I mean, you'd have like a 200% premium. You'd still be paying $30 an ounce for your physical silver, right? Even though the spot price went down to 10. So, you know, this whole spot price thing is kind of smoke and mirrors. It's not really reflective of physical silver, but it is interesting to note the silver price will never again do what it did back in 2018 and 2019 when it went below the $16 mark. So we'll see what the future holds. Obviously, if they get inflation under control, this will kind of slow down the rate of increase for the bottom that silver spot price can be. But I feel like they're not really going to be able to get inflation under control, because I think they're going to be so worried about a recession, they're going to forget about inflation for a while. So anyway, that was the video. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Feel free to put them down below in the comment section, and I will see you all in my next one. Silver Dragons out.